welcome back. So you should have 2 lengths of fans and you should have strings coming out of both ends. So what we're going to do first is, since this is the one my needle is on, it doesn't really matter which one you start with first, but we're going to do the end that you're going to then attach to the clasp. So I have this thing, it's my background is in marketing, and I have to do odd numbers in almost everything that I do. So I'm going to do 9, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same circle. So the thread's coming here, and I'm going to come back around. And because this is also going to be where the clasp ultimately is going to be hooked, I'm going to actually go around it again just to add that second layer of thread. Maybe. You know, it's so easy when no one's watching, and even though you aren't technically watching at the moment I'm doing this, I know that I'm recording it. So all right, so there's our 2 rounds pulled tight. Okay, so now we're going to move our thread down through the first super duo, sorry about that, through the first super duo. Okay, now from here, I'm sorry, we're gonna, boy, I'm not hitting all circuits today. Gonna move it down to the last super duo, so it's coming out here. Okay, and from here what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 5 seed beads. Okay, a pearl, and 5 seed beads. Now at the moment it's going to look very off until we get the other side on. So we're coming out here, which is the bottom one. So we're going to go to the next bottom one. We're not going to catch any of the seed beads, and it may take a little bit of wiggling to get it in and out the right way. Okay. So there you go. Now we're going to do this all the way down. We're going to pick up 5 and 1 and 5 and we're going to go to the next bottom part of the fan. Okay. 3, 4, 5. Okay, to the next bottom of the next fan. There you go. So see, there's your little loopies sticking out. We're going to do this all the way down until we run out of fans. Okay, 5, pearl, 5, bottom of the next fan. 2, 3, 4, 5, pearl, 5. Trying to get to the next step before I have to stop this video, because that way you don't have to keep jumping around on the videos, making it so many short ones. I'd rather do a couple long ones for you. Okay, 5, 1, 5, and we're about halfway there anyway, so we can keep going. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, and you can get very creative with this design and do maybe the center like we're doing right now with a whole different color, or do a different color of pearls in here. So I mean, you can really add or subtract colors however you want. There's also super duos that have two colors, like one side has one color, one side has the other. Now, if you were to get something like that, that would be really unique too, because one side would be one color, you flip it over and it's another color. Usually complementing colors, but it's still a very unique look. The only thing with doing that is you definitely have to make sure that your super duos were all the right way as you're doing them. Okay, only a couple more left here. Four, five. Gotta get the right bottom next fan. I was trying to skip ahead a little bit there. All right, 3, 4, 5. We got one left. Oop. There we go. And one left. Okay, so we're going to go on to this one. Now, what I'm going to do here is, I know that I have what's called the dead tail. I'm going to just kind of tuck this out of the way. And when I bring up my needle, I'm actually going to move it over to the center, which is going to be your glass pearl. Okay. Now I'm going to add the other end to hook the clasp to. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to make a circle around the pearl. Okay, and again, because I am always wanting to reinforce, especially where the clasp is, because that's where it gets moved the most and the most tension and pull, I'm going to go through it a second time. Okay, come back out. Might be getting a little tighter in there in that pearl, but you should be able to get it in there. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is tie off. And the way that you tie off is what's called half hitches. So you move your thread, and it doesn't matter where you go. All you have to do is move along the actual path that the thread went on before. And so I usually move it a little bit away from the thread, from the end, just in case something slips. And you're going to do like it's similar to what a square knot is, a right over left, left over right. But you're going to do what's called a half hitch. So you go up and back through. Okay, and then if you went up, you go down and through. And what happens is these knots, just like on a square knot, they reverse each other, and so that locks it in. Now, I normally do not do just one single knot. I almost always do a second knot. So I'm going to move a little farther along, just again, following the path of my thread if I don't get it hooked on beads back here. There we go. Following the path of my thread. Okay, so I'm going to go to right here, and I'm going to do the same thing now. I'm going to come up, and once you get the hang of these little half hitch knots, as long as you do them the same each time, they're really nice to do, because if you always go from the bottom up and then the top down, you won't forget it. All right, now, I also do not want to cut my tail right there, because if it slips a little, it might go through the knot. So I'm just going to move my thread if I can. And if you've got a bead that's too tight, be careful of trying to force it through there. The wiggling helps because it'll actually smooth out the insides. And now I'm going to cut this thread. Okay, pull up a little bit and cut. Now I will still have what's called the dead tail, which we can tie off later. Okay, for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my needle back on to my other length. Okay, I'm going to lay this out here. Now, I need to do first the same thing we did over here and do the little attachment where the clasp goes. I'm going to add a little bit more seed beads here so I don't run out. Okay, so I'm going to do 9 again. And if you feel more comfortable with 5 or 6, then that's up to you. Like I said, everything I do pretty much is odd numbers. I don't know why, other than my marketing background, but I really like odd numbers. So 3, 6, 9. And I'm going to go back around where I was. Okay. And because I want it a little stronger, I'm going to reinforce it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is move. I'm going to actually turn this way for us. I'm going to move my needle down and to come out the last part of the fan, just like I did before when I was adding those little loopy things. But this time I'm going to add 5 seed beads, and I'm going to go through this glass pearl. So instead of adding one, I'm going through one, and then add 5 more. Now, one thing to be very aware of, just to make sure you have it going the right direction. So make sure that the fan on both of them are the right direction. Now, you can reverse them if you choose, but for this one, let's do them this way because it's easier to match up. So now when I pull, there's my intersection. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick up 5 more. And I'm going to go through this pearl. Okay, and then I'm going to catch, just like I was doing before, that bottom fan. Now you can hold this doing it. I'm laying it down. Oh, forgot to add the beads. Boy, I'll tell you, this BeadALong and I have not gotten along very well, have we? All right, so I got to add the 5 more. But again, if you're holding it, it actually is much easier to hold it. And the way to hold it that's the easiest is to do this, like a sandwich. Okay, and now I'm going to take these 5 that I added, and I'm going to put it through this side of the fan. So now you can see what just happened. Okay, so the goal is to do this all the way down to the other end, tie your little loop so that you can do the rings to the clasp, and tie it off. And then go ahead and tie these threads, the dead tails, off. And the next video, I'll show you real quick how to attach, and then you'll be done. See you then.